But in those 2 months, I felt love.
Yep.
Where everybody else thought I was feeling pain, yes, it was painful, it was uncertainty, but I felt and experienced love.
He felt and experienced love. This is Muhoozi Kainerugaba says, Kabobi should stop telling wild lies. He fled the country on the 26th of January this year, 11 days after the election. He has spent 2 months in the United States eating Big Macs while his followers are in jail. Some leader. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting to get to know what really went down when Bobi Wine was in hiding for close to 2 months. Let's go on and listen to what he had to say during the celebration of al-Fitr in Washington, District of Columbia.
We don't take it for granted. Today, you're supposed to be meeting the soon-to-be sworn-in president of our country, because I was elected by the people of Uganda to be president. But as you know, what happened. But I think that was not enough. My wife was raided. We were raided first. And that's when I realized that I'm actually James Bond and Schwarzenegger rolling into one. And I escaped and became a ninja in real life. A few days later, slightly over a week, they raided again. I thought it's me they wanted. But because they failed to find me out of embarrassment, they raided my wife, beat my wife, stripped my wife naked, filmed all that, embarrassed her, all to get to me.
You know, those are cowardly actions. It is the height of stupidity and primitivity. That because you cannot get Mordecai, go for his wife. Like, it reeks of, I don't know, backwardness. My wife is not responsible for my actions. You can't resort to punishing my wife because you can't find me or my children. Really?
But she still, from her pain, said that wherever you are, don't show up. So I speak to Mama from our hospital, bed that she escaped and left the country. I stayed in the country for close to 2 months, but eventually, by the grace of God, I was also able to leave the country. But in those 2 months, I felt love.
Yep.
Where everybody else thought I was feeling pain, yes, it was painful, it was uncertainty, but I felt and experienced love.
He felt and experienced love.
I would walk into people's homes, people who don't know me, but as soon as they know it's Bobi Wine, even the kid, they say, shh, took me in, fed me, clothed me, and they made sure they moved me to the next place, Whether they are Uganda like me, whether they are Nyakoni, whether they are Machoni, there was nothing separating us. That spoke to me. The Catholics, priests prepared mass for me, they prayed for me. The Muslims prayed for me. They fed me. All these families knew how dangerous it was to host me. Even when they knew that I was not a criminal, but they covered me. That I will never be able to thank those people personally. But I pray for them because I know prayers work. This is when I knew that prayers actually work. And maybe God did this to communicate to me. And I feel like I must communicate the same to people. And for the rest of my days, I praise the name of the Almighty God.
So that's a little bit of a story. I'm quite certain that, we shall get more about the details on how he escaped, how and who these people were. Of course, we might never know all of them. But it shows you how Ugandans are willing to go an extra mile, even in situations where their lives could be threatened. But they would go an extra mile to do the right thing because they knew Bobi Wine had not committed any crime. Running against Museveni is not a crime. They will gaslight you. They will resort to cheap propaganda, like you have seen Charles Romshana trying to create a very boring narrative that Bobi Wine was planning the assassination of Museveni and his security operatives. It is really shameful. Like I said, it would have been endearing if it wasn't dangerous. But they're willing to tell these lies with a straight face because there's no bridge too far or a depth too deep for them to tell these lies. They will go beyond the extremes to tell these lies because that's the only way they can ensure that they get crumbs off Museveni's table and continue preaching message they believe consolidates Museveni's criminal regime. And as a result of Bobi Wine's words, now you have Muhoozi Kainerugaba now coming out to respond. And you're going to laugh at this one. Let me show you Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Let's go on here. Where did I save this? Muhoozi. Let me show you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, oh yeah, perfect. Now you have Muhoozi Kainerugaba responding. Is being on X platform. I don't know. Look, I think it's just posted just a few minutes ago. But I want you to read here. But by the way, before we actually go into telling you about Muhoozi Kainerugaba's madness and responding to Bobi Wine, see how they are sending a signal to Frank Gashumba. They're telling him that you're not as important as you think. He says, I'm going to say this only once. I'm the one who appointed Honorable Daud Kaband as General Secretary of the PLU. I know why I did that. I have my reasons. Those who fight him are fighting our movement, and we will not allow it. They should stop immediately. Mention his name directly. His name is Frank Gashumba. He's the one who's fighting his fellow clown in the Muhoozi nonsense. Then he goes on to say, one of our serious members recently told me that from his research, PLU currently has at least 4 million members. I believe him. It's so sad that, he doesn't really feel any shame in telling lies. Okay. Now, this is Muhoozi Kainerugaba says, Kabobi should stop telling wild lies. He fled the country on the 26th of January this year, 11 days after the election. He has spent 2 months in the United States eating Big Macs while his followers are in jail, some leader. Then he goes on here to say, now he's saying he escaped through a mifureje because he fears me. How do you say mifureje in English? He resorts to comedy, which is really boring. But isn't it sad that that even videos of Bobi Wine in Uganda making commentaries or even saying things, giving comments on things that are happening in Uganda in real time. But most of these people, the likes of Muyanga Lutaya, are telling us Bobi Wine fled Uganda immediately after the election. Then you sort of want to tell us that Bobi Wine is, to a certain extent, psychic. He's clairvoyant. He was able to know the events that were going to happen in Uganda. And then he recorded those himself, commenting about those events in Uganda. And in some situations was actually in video, releasing videos of himself talking about these events. But they don't really care, about their people. They just tell them lies. Then he goes on here to comment. He goes on here to comment on Bobi Wine's tweet. He says, Uncle Tom Kabobi, Uganda won its independence in 1962. We are a sovereign nation. Okay, sovereign nation that is dependent on foreign aid from international organizations, global quote-unquote partners, individual states that are funding Uganda's economy. And what does it say? about you reminding us that we are independent. What are you afraid of? Bobi Wine is saying, hey, I started my international engagements today with meeting on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Free Uganda now. I remember when Uganda was suspended from AGOA, Museveni immediately sent his son-in-law, Odrek Rabogo, to go and engage in Washington, with power brokers in Washington, D.C. How come I didn't see Muhoozi saying, we are an independent country, Odrek Rabogo should come back to Uganda? Do you know why he didn't? Because that doesn't serve or push the narrative, we are an independent country. And then many of you have seen me on X platform calling on Muhoozi Kainerugaba to make comments about the Iran-Israel-America conflict or war. And he was able to make a comment, and you're going to laugh at this one, of how fearful he is. Listen to how he comments about this. He says, as a Muhoozi and a direct descendant of Jesus Christ, I pray for our God Jesus Christ for a quick end to the war in the Middle East. Iranians are God's children too. If there is one thing Christ taught us, it is mercy. However, much power you have, if you don't have mercy, you will seek God. This war must end now. Listen to the nebulous language and the cowardice of the man. Oh, even though you have, please have mercy. Use the rhetoric you've been using on Bobi Wine and a few others. Say, I want America to stop attacking. I mean, let him use that rhetoric. He knows what he's doing, but because he finds himself in a situation where he wants to make a comment, but he's afraid of how it might be received and how close he might fly to the sun. So he says, okay, let me try to make this vague comment. That's what he resorts into. He's extremely, extremely afraid to the core, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. But keep going. I like it. Please, come on. Come on. Then he goes on to say, it will end soon. Jesus Christ, our Lord, our God, will end it soon. And you shall all bear witness that Christ sits at the right hand of power. Then he resorts to comedy and stuff like that. That's Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And obviously, he blocked me. I'm not able to respond. I usually want to respond here, like retweet and, but he blocked me, so I cannot. But again, he comments about mercy and how people should have mercy. However powerful you are, you should have mercy. This man has bragged about killing people, abducting them and torturing them and disappearing them. But he's the one who wants to come and teach us or tell us about mercy. One thing I really hate is called selective humanity. Oh, well, I'm going to show mercy here, but I cannot show mercy here. Look, I'm not a fan of Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Never will I be. But I wish him the best in life. I want him to, first of all, have an epiphany in regards to how he should treat people. I believe he should have good health. His children should have good life. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I support his political ideologies if he has one. Absolutely not. He doesn't have any. But he cannot say that about me. That's the only difference. My difference with him is ideology. My difference with him is humanity. I'm saying, hey, you don't have a right to abduct, torture, and kill people. He cannot say that about me. His only difference with me, he believes that I don't have a right to exist or to live. He thinks that I should be dead, that I shouldn't have a right to speak against his lawlessness and impunity. That's the only difference. It's sad. Anyways, this one is going to be a short one.
Office, and she's there to mobilize and get us together.
I'll show you something here. All hope is not lost, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you believe?
While we look at the problems in our country and we cry and we feel angry, I usually say, do not lose hope. The liberation of this country will come, either in your lifetime or in somebody's lifetime. What we've got to do, you and I, is do something. Do something. And the cause of my hope are situations like this. I want you to look at this young lady debating.
Do you believe in democracy?
Yes.
What do you define democracy as, madam?
Pardon?
What would be your definition of the word democracy?
Democracy is the power given to the people.
Majority over minority, yes?
Majority of minority.
Thank you. Do you believe dictatorship is the way to go?
No, it's not.
Can you force knowledge into someone's mind?
Pardon?
Can you force knowledge into someone's mind?
Only if they are willing to acquire it.
Willing, so which means you cannot force it. Thank you. Should inclusivity be forced?
Pardon?
Should inclusivity be forced?
It is not forced in our world.
Thank you. I think that's all. So, Pano, we're faced with an affirmative team that that believes that all the parts of the government in Uganda are independent. But if we're looking at the Electoral Commission, for starters, the Electoral Commission does not hold single-handed power. It is given power by the Constitution, but I do not believe that it has the right to exercise this power if its chairperson is chosen by the reigning president. The reigning president is a democratic leader, one that is meant to be chosen by the people. But if he's chosen by the people and he has the right to choose someone that is supposed to let out what the people choose, I do not believe that decision is not biased. And then these people believe that it is independent. But then we're still faced with wrangles after the whole election system. We elected leaders, but then at a point, most Ugandans do not believe those leaders were elected by us. Because there are many scuffles that happened during the election period, before and after. We had the lockdown from the internet. We had no internet during that entire time. We had the army everywhere around Uganda, near civilians, people that have no defense, no arms, no nothing. But we had the army around them. And this is the transparency that these people are coming here to preach. They believe that their policy is workable, yet they come here fronting sensitization. We have been dealing with sensitization from the beginning of time until now. We are still going through sensitization and people are still not yet making it there.
Protect this young lady at all costs. Protect her. She's amazing. And I would ask schools, out there to organize these kinds of debates. This is the only way, not the only way, but one of the ways we can save our country. If we have an awakened, a woke generation that understands what's going on. Do not, and I've seen something, look, I'm a very much appreciator of art. I've seen so many schools creating content where kids are dancing and having fun. I really love that. Please do that 1,000,000 times. I really do. But do not forget this aspect of life. As I have seen so many challenges on TikTok where kids are dancing. Now, can we have this kind of challenge as well? Where they're debating about the issues that our country is grappling with. We want these brilliant minds, and this is what restores hope in me. When I look on the side, then I see Anita Among. On the other side, I see Nabanja. Then I see Jessica Lupo and Janet Museveni. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a complete joke. When I open my internet and land on this girl, I'm like, oh, all hope is not lost. There's some hope to save our country.
They do not believe in dictatorship, but forcing people into making decisions they were not planning to make is dictatorship. Democracy is majority over minority, but at this point, we should be dealing with eligible voters as the motion states. The motion clearly stipulates that it should be the eligible we are dealing with. There are certain people out there that are above the age of 18, that are 18 to begin with, but do not vote, but are not eligible. These people, for starters, they do not believe in the system we're in. They do not believe that the Uganda that we have, because most of us have been born in the current presidential regime, and at a point, certain people have died in this very regime. At a point, Ugandans believe that they have no right in it to vote, because someone came here fronting that it is our responsibility to vote, but according to the Constitution, it is a responsibility and a duty. And it being a responsibility means, as a Ugandan, I should vote. But then, as a duty, it should be my choice. I rest my case.
She rests her case. Please protect this girl at all costs. What an amazing, amazing gem right there. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. I hope we have many of those kind of conversations. She's debating whether we're living in a dictatorship or a democracy, and from her conclusion, it is a complete democracy. I'm afraid she might be abducted, she might be tortured, she might be killed. Yes, if you're watching this in 2080? Yeah. If you're watching this in the future, I might not be here. There was a situation, there was a time in Uganda where you debated people abducted you for a debate, for raising your opinion. Look, you're watching this from wherever you're watching this from. I'm now talking to the people in the future, 2080, 2090. I might not be here. But I couldn't have this kind of a show in my country, Uganda. I would be abducted. My machines would be, the gadgets I'm using here, all the equipment would be confiscated because I'm not pandering or shielding the criminal regime. So now that we live in a beautiful country, now this is me being optimistic that the future is a good one. You're living in a better future. And the days of Museveni are looked at as dark days. Please protect what you got. I'm talking to the future. Now, assuming that, you're watching from Uganda and things are really changed, protect what you got. Because these days, I recorded this on the 22nd of March, 2026. Many of my friends were in prison, others in torture chambers, and others were dead as a result of opposing Museveni's criminal regime. Now that we don't have that anymore, protect what we got. Speaking to you in the future. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back here. Please stick around. My name is Mordecai Morisa. Now I'm back to 2026. My name is Mordecai Morisa. I wish you a wonderful time. Stick around. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.